Indiana Hoosiers Live 61. We're smelling roses. We're in a quad box because we've got the Kirkwood and Dunn boys with us today. We were just joking around. I didn't get all of my tweets out, so at some point during the intro of this episode, I'm going to send the rest of them. But fellas, I appreciate you joining us on a Monday night. Welcome to Indiana Hoosiers Live.
I can't believe we got invited on to like an official podcast, Tim. Like this is wild. Like we're being embraced by the Indiana podcast community. I never thought I'd see the day.
I mean, this is good, but really, no offense, guys, but my goal is Feinbaum. So like the white whale is still out there. You're close. This is a close second, but like Feinbaum is still the be all end all. And we've got like 10 days, something like that. I'm going to do what I can to get on there.
So we have a buddy who does the Indiana pod or the Alabama pod on this platform, and he's good buddies with Feinbaum in the sense that he calls in on the show like weekly, and does good. And Feinbaum's like, "Hey Jackson, what's up?" It's I'm sure Jackson.
It's our guy Jackson Johnson. He's the man.
We're Jackson Johnson.
6 degrees.
Guest reveal next week.
Oh,
I love having guests on too. Like starting this pod and like having people that kind of know us, I guess. I don't know how familiar you are with us, like maybe Sigs Inside or until we became voice of college football in Indiana. It's pretty surreal just to have like people on the show and just like shoot the shit.
Listen, nothing better than talking some Hoosiers. That's the most important.
Oh, for sure.
Hoosier football. Yeah, exactly.
As we talked during a Hoosier football podcast, funny enough, during an Indiana basketball game, which I think is a really, really fitting way to enter into this conversation. Brad kind of just alluded to it, but me and him started Sigs Inside, an Indiana football podcast last year. You guys started Kirkwood and Dunn also last year. So if I guess Trent, you want to start kind of what went into starting the podcast, who was starting these conversations, and how did you ultimately decide on both the name and then to pull the trigger?
Yeah, we might be like one of the only podcasts that most people in Columbus, Ohio know the date because they all kept telling me November 2024 over and over, like that was some badge of honor. But yeah, it is one of those things that I worked for the university. I ran the Little 500 for a couple years, not ran, like was in it. I oversaw it, I should say, and had a great team that did that for me. And so when I left the university, moved up to Michigan, it was like, Tim is electric. Like, I don't know. I can't describe the amount of like voice messages I get during Indiana games or Bears games. And I'm like, I got to get that guy on a screen and just start talking to him and recording it. And we didn't think it would take off. And I know we'll jump in about the Ohio State thing, but it's been a lot of fun over the last 18 months and it's steadily grown. And that's been my biggest thing, is just like building kind of a community and just talking shit.
Tim, was this something you had to be like coaxed into or like talked into? Cause I had to talk Brad into starting a podcast probably for, I don't know, I started in December and when we launched officially in July. So did it take a little convincing or were you kind of fully on board?
It took a little convincing. Trent was on it for a while. Like, I don't know, maybe like 2 years beforehand. Like we got Michael Penix and we're going to go to a bowl game. And Trent was like, this is it. We're to the moon, baby. Let's go. And I'm like, pump the brakes. All right. Listen, my glory days of IU football were 2007 Insight Bowl, when I was in undergrad. Like, I've seen us make a bowl game before. It's not anything to like, start getting too excited about. But ultimately, like as the 24 season started going on, it was too clear that Cignetti had done something different, that he was putting us in a much different competitive place, that it felt like, do people need to see more white guys with a podcast? No, but they need to see them talk about Indiana football. Yes, there's not enough voices out there about Indiana football. So yeah, we jumped on it. We said, let's do it. And wherever it goes is where it goes. Like, the fact of the matter is, Trent and I, like, those were going to be text messages back and forth. And we just turned them into episodes. So it's been a lot of fun getting the thing going.
Brad, how similar does that sound to us?
It's like basically spot on to how we originated. I remember when Cignetti got hired and he had the speech at Assembly Hall. Definitely caught my attention. I had no idea really who he was. He was kind of like, I kind of looked over him a little bit when I heard his name in the coaching search, like, oh, he's just the old guy. Like, I don't want the old guy. I want to go with the younger guy that could maybe win at Indiana and then be there like for the long haul and be like a 20-year guy, like a Mike Gundy, like where you're going 8+ wins every year. Like that was what I have always wanted for the university. And after Googling him, it was very apparent that he did win at a very high level at any sort of stop. I think what really caught my eye wasn't so much the head coaching experience, but was the recruiting coordinator role at Alabama, the quarterbacks coach role at NC State, where he brought in Russell Wilson and Phillip Rivers during that time. And after just doing some thinking and, making some moves in the calendar, I decided to pull the trigger and do a podcast with my good college buddy, Alec Keyser.
I love it.
Well,
Go ahead, Trent.
Well, Alec, I think it's like, it's weird because I don't want to participate in revisionist history where we like look back and we're like, oh, we knew this was coming. Yeah. I will say in December in 23 was when my wife was making the decision to leave IU and take a job at Michigan. And we were like big football fans. Tim knows this. Tim like was always the person I'd go to because everyone else is like, you have football season tickets? Why don't you buy basketball season tickets? Like, I don't want to go to basketball. And I remember sitting with her and it was the SIG hire thing on this board. And I like looked at her and I'm like, I feel like if we go to Michigan, we're like leaving right before something special happens. Like he just like had this like confidence that no one else had. And when I say no one else had, no one in the university. I had worked in the university for like 6-7 years at that point, and no one had the self-belief that in almost anything that Indiana could be better than Ohio State, Michigan, and Purdue, and those type of things. And we went and we had that discussion. She ended up taking the job. And I remember looking at that schedule going, like, we're going to be bowl eligible. Like that schedule was bad. We all knew that. Mm-hmm. But of course, none of us saw this. And I'll be the first to say, I think I picked 8-4, 9-3. There's a tweet out there, but it wasn't because I thought SIG was going to build an emerging superpower. It was because that schedule was really bad. And I thought Curtis Rourke, because I'd bet on a lot of games at Ohio, I thought he was a good quarterback. Right. So like that was kind of our origin story to get to this point and luckily we're talking about a winner instead of someone losing.
It's like it's like the Spider-Man meme right now. Cause it's like, that's exactly how we felt going into it. Where it's like, yeah, we're expecting like this is a guy that could take us to like 8-4 every year. Yeah. That's like, and that seemed at the time impossible, right, for this program in terms of where it was. And yeah, and then for him to kind of just hit the fast forward button, there's something at least I always say on this podcast, like when you're building the program, you got to stack weeks, stack days, stack months, stack years, and eventually you can have that one season where you can knock off the Ohio State and win a conference title, maybe in like year 5 or 6, and then to see him hit fast forward on the whole process of what we all thought was what a rebuild in college football would look like has just been insane to cover the whole entire time. Like I'd be lying if I said I didn't have doubt. Wasn't daunted, but it wasn't like in terms of getting to that number 1 spot in year 2. Like, yeah, totally. If you told me that was going to happen, I would have my doubts.
You mean, dare I say, a pressure cooker? Unlike Matt Rule's slow cooker, that is a pressure cooker.
The crock pot.
Yeah,
Matt Rule's crock pot.
Yeah,
I love it. Not to pat myself on the back, but I guess I was a little bit earlier on it than you guys. It was like the origin of his Google Me comment, and going back to the point, Trent, where you made, where like it was palpable the lack of confidence at the universities and like with everybody, where he was just like fed up. Like, did nobody look into me? Did everybody just assume I'm coming here to take a paycheck? And the answer was yes. Like 95% of the people did. But it's like I brought the story 2 or 3 times now in the last couple of weeks, but like Cignetti fell asleep at the wheel recruiting in this first like week on the job. Like that dude flipped the roster and brought in like
forgot about that
38 guys out, I think 30 guys in, and then like somebody who I don't know, we might touch on it later. Steve Wiltfong who is somebody who I'm a huge fan of because of how honest he's been about the things that have been happening in Indiana, and he was one of the first people I remember who was like, the recruiting, what's going on there is just a little bit different than what we've seen. And that was like February was the first time I wrote about it, but it was just the thing. It just felt different. The speed of the social media output, the recruiting, the types of guys they were going after, the way they were talking about it. It was just, you could see something was changing. So I don't want to say I predicted 11 wins because I didn't actually make a prediction, but I didn't put a self-imposed limitation on a Curt Cignetti football team, and I'm glad I didn't because he's proved that you get punished if you do so.
I think what was really apparent right away with Sig was just his attention to detail, and not just like like we could talk about the roster construction and the flip of the roster and all that, but like the little details in terms of like the stadium, the environment, the weight room, just the little fine details of what makes a college football program, and just trying to like build a brand new culture. And he was able to do it in 2 years. Insane.
Speaking of building a brand, we were talking about it a little bit beforehand, but Trent, the clip game has been unreal. As somebody who is on the behind the screen trying to figure out what makes a good clip, how to do it, doing it consistently. First of all, major props. But you were also saying that Tim was the one who kind of pushed you to do it. So Tim, can you kind of explain that, why you were pushing for it? And then do you think he's doing a good job? Because I think he's doing a good
job. Trent's doing great. I mean, listen, you invest in Canva Pro, and then all of a sudden, like, you just go to the moon. Like, that's all that it takes. I mean, this is media in 2025. Like, you have to be on YouTube. Like, all the social media platforms prioritize video and pictures and stuff. So, like, at the end of the day, the dulcet tones of Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby here, like, we're only going to be able to do so much. So, like, we got to get a little animated. We got to get a little bit out there. And I'm totally fine to do it. That's the thing. Like, I put out some hot takes. It's not for me to like be the Stephen A. Smith of Indiana football or Indiana athletics. Like,
it's an open niche.
But what else what do you guys talk about when you go to the bar? That's what I talk about. When I sit down at the bar, I talk shit to the fan that's next to me. Like, that's exactly what I do. And so all I do is just bring that to the podcast, and hey, people like it, people enjoy it. So I'm glad that we're doing it. But Trent is probably a little bit more of the behind the scenes cultivator of it. And then I just like to provide the content. I'm more of the theater stage artist. Trent is Scorsese, I'm Leo. That's really what we're getting at.
It's like the same thing I always tell Keezer to chop me up when I'm down on my hot takes. I was calling Mendoza Andrew Luck in April, and I didn't see a single clip on it on Twitter.
That's not true.
Now, like, what are we doing?
I posted that clip more times than you have.
That's true. That's probably true. I wouldn't know. I'm on Twitter or anything.
I think it's actually, like I said, Tim was like, we should do video, and we did it, and I've been helped by software. But the craziest thing was we were just on Twitter. Like, Tim and I are like we're never quitting this app type guys. Like, absolutely love content on Twitter, and it's problematic in a lot of ways, for sure. Haven't seen so many
most things are though.
Yeah, just derogatory terms until I met Alabama fans this week. But it is one of those things that I got on the other platforms too with our video clips. And we're now on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And go follow us at Kirkwood and Dunn on everything. Because when you have a really long name, that's the only thing that you can reserve. But when we did that, it's amazing the reaction on each platform to the same clip. And like right now, TikTok is just blowing up over Tim's. There's only 3 good teams, and take your houndstooth, and we're now candy stripes. And so like it's all Alabama fans, but it's also Indiana fans, and it's Indiana fans going, guys, we got to stay humble. Like, we have to stay humble. And like all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, we don't. And it's all these people arguing on TikTok right now. It's just weird, the different audiences and what clip resonates with which group. And it's been a fascinating growth of our podcast watching that.
Let me just build a clip right here, right now, because you said that, and that shit makes me so mad. Like, I did not watch Bill Lynch coach football for multiple years to then have a 13-0 Big Ten champion football team and then be humble about it? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going down to like the gas station to go tell everybody about fucking Curt Cignetti and what he's doing in Bloomington. Like, be humble. That's the last fucking thing I want to do. Like, what are we talking about? We should be capturing every moment. We should be borderline, not financial advice, taking out credit card debt to go to bowl games and playoff games. Like, do you realize what Clemson fans would do right now to be in the college football playoffs? And we're just going to sit around and be like, let's just be humble. Like, what are you talking about? Get out of here. I'm going to strut my way to the fucking Peach Bowl the entire way back and forth. Like, there's no chance I'm going to be humble about this. And I don't think any Indiana fan should ever be humble about it.
I completely agree. I think the chirp that most Indiana fans get the most is like, you guys act like you've never been here before. And it's like, no shit. You have never been here before. And guess what? This shit is awesome. Like, winning is great. I love this. I enjoy beating teams, being physically dominant, like being in all these discussions. This is what I wanted. I want a competitive football team that allows me to be in these discussions and have these conversations. So like when I'm here and I'm allowed to speak with confidence, I'm going to inject confidence in my football team. Like, just because it upsets you that I'm saying we would win doesn't mean I'm going to stop saying it.
Well, in Ohio State and Alabama fans, like their biggest thing is like, oh, you just started watching football, or I can't believe how arrogant you all have gotten in just 1 year of good football because they don't count last year. And I'm like, guys, we've been like this way the whole time. You just didn't pay attention to us. Like when Penix got over the line, and it was over the line against Penn State because James Franklin's a dumbass and didn't have his guy go down in that game, and we came back. Trust me, if I had a podcast at that point, there would have been an elite clip about James Franklin not being able to win games, but no one paid attention to us because, I mean, I understand why. I'm not mad, but to act like we're just doing this all of a sudden is like, man, you didn't know Tim Byrne before 2025. Like, so, yeah.
Well,
sorry,
I did
Tim,
have
go
a
ahead.
I did have a podcast talking Indiana football at that time. And to your point, nobody was listening. I was on Twitter talking about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
Look, I just we decided in 2023 to start winning at football. And every Ohio State fan, who I'm sure we'll see in a few weeks again, Oregon fans, can't wait to chatter you up, in a couple weeks. Yeah, Oregon fans know the real deal. They got handed the sauce. Like, everybody else is figuring out, like, oh, we decided to win at football, and now we're just winning at football. Like, I gave the clip out. It's like, this is the Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. Like, what? Is it supposed to be hard? Like, oh, wait, no. You just hire a great coach who's an excellent talent evaluator. You raise the money from your fans and alumni base. You pay the players. You do the things, and then you just go win football games. Like, it's just that easy. The reason we weren't doing it before is we didn't care. We weren't trying to win at football. We were trying to win basketball games. That's a whole other issue. We're not going to touch that right now because we're not really going to be doing that. But the football team, now we're just winning. So we figured it out. I'm going to enjoy it for as long as it lasts. It may not last. But this is like the sort of like enthusiasm I expected to see once it happened. Like, I think Indiana athletics, like Indiana fans, are extremely passionate and care about sports and care about like the teams that they're rooting for. The problem is we were stuck in like Archie Miller era for a long time, or trying to root for like swimming and diving, or hoping to God like men's soccer was going to catch on and like we were going to get the 9th title there. Like, we just weren't playing in the big sports that everybody else like plays in. And now we do. And everybody else is going to have to deal with it. Like, that's the absolute message. Like, SEC, Paul Feinbaum, listen up, buddy. You are not ready. You think I'm just one person? Nuh-uh. There's actually so many of Tims out there that are Indiana fans. Like, we're coming to chirp at you. Like, we are going to mobilize like nothing you've ever seen before. We were just waiting in the shadows. Kurt Signetti brought us out into the light. God bless him. That's what I got to say. That's where we're going.
Indiana fans are like volcanoes, I always say. There was a lot more of them than you thought. They were just dormant.
Yeah. Largest living alumni base. Got Peyton Manning winning Super Bowls just up the road. Like, it was always a football state. You just had to put the money into it, which they never did.